The other day I had the shits. So I think it was a brief argument with my husband over something. We're in lockdown, we're going crazy. So I decided I'm going for a walk. Fuck this, I need to get out of here. I went for a walk and I started walking with intent to like push hard and just kind of allow some frustration to be released. I didn't want to train. I had already trained that day. Usually I'll, do a heavy session or something like that. It was just I was annoyed, I was frustrated, it was too much in my space. So I went for a walk. And I started walking and trying to process in my head my feelings, my emotions. And I realized something, and it was a conversation that I've had before with myself, but it wasn't as raw as usual. And I think maybe lockdowns pushed me to realize a couple of things about my own actions towards how I feel. But this statement came to mind. It was like, why the fuck do you sabotage? Why when you're angry? Why when you're upset? Why when you're tired? Why when you're annoyed? Why when you're happy? Do you change what your intent or your vision is for yourself? And then I was like, you sabotage to fit in. You sabotage to fit in with how you feel, with the environment around you, with the people you're around, with what's going on in that moment. So let's give you an example. If I have a vision and, a training vision and a nutrition vision and a health vision, and all of a sudden I have a punch on with someone, my husband or a friend, and I get frustrated, and then you feel like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go eat what I want, or you jump off the wagon because you hit a brick wall and you want that instant gratification. You want that feeling of like, fuck it, I just want to feel good right now. And I realized, over my life, I've done that so many times. I've been affected by the environment or affected by how I feel that I negate my road that I was sticking to, the consistency of that road, and I just jump ship just because I want to feel good. Now, obviously, over the years, you get better at doing this. You get better at either sticking to your path or sabotaging. And then you find that you have this common trait where you're like, every time shit gets hard, why do I keep failing? Why every time I start a diet or I start a training program and then I get a week in or something happens or I get stressed with work or my kids or my life or my partner, and all of a sudden I'm sitting out at McDonald's eating a Big Mac, or I'm eating chocolate in the middle of the night, or I'm not training, or I missed this training session or whatever. And I realized in that moment, I'm like, you sabotage to fit in. You want to feel the same way that you feel in that moment. Physically, emotionally, you want it all to match. So you're like, you know what? Fuck it. I feel like shit. Well, yeah, I'm going to feel like shit. So let's go. Let's go do this. Let's do whatever I want. And I'm going to try and now feel instantly better. I'm not going to fix the problem. I'm not going to fix the cause. I'm just going to fix in that moment that feeling. So I'm just going to eat, or I'm just going to drink, or I'm just going to whatever you do. And I was like, okay, cool. It was good. I went for a walk. It was in the middle of the day. So I went for this walk and I'm like, okay, so when you want something, do you want it bad enough? All right. So I asked myself that. I'm like, so what are you working at now? Now being in lockdown, there's not much to do. So I'm training and I'm working on, health perspective, as usual, but I have a few different constraints. And I was like, okay, cool. So when I bitch out in something, not because I'm physically exhausted or, there is a real reason, when I'm just bitching out, when I'm like, nah, I'm done. I'll give you a simple one. Sitting on the bike and I have to do a warm up a specific time with a specific constraint of like pushing hard. I don't want you to, crash, but I don't want you to be like cruising and playing on your phone. I want you to be focused. I get to like the 3 or 4 minute mark. I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? I've done enough. And I was like, no, why are you sabotaging? Because you don't like it? Because you don't feel good? You just want to get off and jump into your training program? It's like, no. So why are you sabotaging? And in that moment, I'm like, well, I want to feel good. I want to get my training started. I'll jump in straight away. I'm warm enough. It's like, no. Do the work. Put the work in. Stay consistent and don't sabotage. So while I was walking, I was like, all right. So I had the shits because my husband and I were, whinging about something. Something dumb, obviously not relevant. And something small. But it was like I felt this need to want to feel better. Now, there are many ways to try and feel better, and the best way is through action, is deal with the shit. And I've said this before, if you're angry, go and train it out. If you're frustrated, go and move. If you're tired, sleep. If you're hungry, eat a proper meal. If you're if you're avoiding something, go deal with the thing. Start putting plan in process to deal with the shit. So usually when we're trying to escape one of those feelings, we find a way to make ourselves better or feel better instantly. It's instant gratification. So we have the sugar, we take the drugs, we drink the alcohol, we avoid the task, we do something opposing to what it is that our body and our mind are actually asking of us. So I called myself out and I was like, okay, cool. I'm glad you went for this walk, because you would have sat at home and just wanted to eat something, or you would have just got more angry, or you would have just been lazy the rest of the day and just done nothing. You would have sat on social media and scrolled on TikTok or something stupid like that. It's like, no, don't sabotage. So it was a matter of understanding what your vision is. And now I always speak about motivation's a load of bullshit. And I agree it is, because it's the consistency that's the key. So when you're on that road and on that path towards whatever it is you want, and you get to that obstacle where you're like, fuck, I'm done, I've had enough. In that moment, it's where you ask yourself, why are you sabotaging? Are you sabotaging to fit in? Are you sabotaging to fit in with how you feel? I'm angry, so I want to eat something. I'm frustrated, so I don't want to train. I'm tired, I'm not going to the gym today. Are you sabotaging so you can fit in with how you feel, with how someone else in your environment feels? Oh, they're all happy and they want to go out and have drinks. It's not where you are today, but it's not your choice. Oh, fuck it, you know what? YOLO, you only live once, let's go join them. But it wasn't part of my plan. So am I trying to enjoy that, or am I just sabotaging to fit in? Now, if you all well and truly say, this is my plan, this is what I want, this is my goal, I'm going to go do that today. Awesome. That's a choice. That's a decision based off a choice. That's part of your plan. But once you jump off your wagon, or you jump off that consistency path, you start sabotaging. And then the more often you do that, the harder it is to jump back on that path and actually know what it is you were fighting for or trying to aim for. So I put that sentence in my head. I'm like, stop sabotaging to fit in. Do the work. And it was just those words for a good 10 minutes of the walk. It was literally just me repeating that phrase over and over again. And almost like, it was like I could envision like all the moments that I sabotage, and it was like stamping them, saying, no, that's bad behavior. That is not what we're doing. We're going to change that behavior. So it's behavioral training. So then the next day I came to train, and I had to do my 10 minutes on the bike. It's a protocol that I'm using at the moment. So 10 minutes, it's not training, it's behavioral training. It's trying to get you to stay under the fight, like go to a fight without crashing, but not go into that place where you're just cruising and drifting off into the world. It's called Q-1 training. So I'm playing around at the moment, and I'm doing it, and I usually get to the third or fourth minute, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you've done enough, you're warm, go. But it's not the intent. The intent is that you're going to work for that 10 minutes, and you're going to stay in that uncomfortable place, not where you disappear and you're in la la land, and not where you go to the place where I don't want to do this anymore and you can't concentrate and focus. You're going to stay present. So then I said to myself, so I got to minute 3 or 4, I'm like, you want to get off? No, you're not. Do not sabotage just because you want to fit in with how you feel right now. Yeah, you feel like you're done. No, you know what the plan is. Do the work. And I just said, do the work, do the work. And then another layer came to me. It was like, do the work for you. We sabotage to fit in with the emotion we might feel, but it's the emotion that is reactive to a time, to a place, to an environment, to someone else. It's not my emotion that I wanted to feel because that was the path I was on. It was because I got pissed and I reacted. So if I wasn't reactive to the situation, what is it that I truly wanted to feel? I want to be accomplished. I want to do the task. I don't want to escape the problems. I want to fix the issues, all of that. So I was like, okay, so while you're on here, do the work for you. As soon as I changed that mentality, it was like, yeah, the work's hard, but I'm doing this for me because I have a vision, I have a plan, I have a goal. I have some constraints I've set, and I'm going to work towards it. So I was like, fuck this. Do the work for you. Rash, do the work for you. Do the work for you. And it was like, don't sabotage, don't sabotage. And it was a matter of that self-talk that when I get to that sticking point, it's like, bring that question to the table, bring that statement and own it. And if you get caught out, you at least are the one putting the freaking, the signal out and saying, oh, you're doing that. Are you choosing to do it? All right, cool. You're choosing to do it. That's on you. No, I'm not sure why I keep doing that, or I can't stick to a plan. And it's like, no. So same nutritionally, I've had my waves up and down in lockdown, and I was like, no, you know what? I need to get back on my protocol. And I need to be a little bit more refined because signals are a little bit not so clear, and, I'm feeling a little fluffy. And all right, call your bullshit. Yeah, cool. You're allowed to have your ups and downs. And it's like, all right, sweet. But do it for you. So if I'm, at night, I get this like, oh, I just want to have something sweet. And it's not about sweet things are bad for you. It's my protocol that I do. It's going to elicit a sympathetic response before bed. Not an ideal situation. So it's like, okay, cool. So do the work for you. Is that part of your plan? Is that what? No. It's like, oh, you want to fit in with how you feel. How do I feel? I'm tired and I'm just trying to stay awake to watch a movie. Fucking go to sleep. I can play the movie again tomorrow. So I really stress to you, when you get to those points, ask yourself, why are you sabotaging? Is it because of how you feel, because of how someone else feels? Is it because you want to fit in with them? Is your partner not supporting the same road, or just has a different road and you're like, oh, I just want to do what they're doing? Now you're jumping off your road to jump onto someone else's road. Is that good enough of a reason to let go of what you wanted? No, you can watch someone's road and support their road and their journey and not have the same path. But when we want to jump in on someone else's emotion, or in on an environment's feeling, or how the situation is, and jump off our railroad just so we can fit in, and then eventually the repercussion being sabotaging and not working towards the goal and taking steps backward, is that what you want? So ask yourself, why are you sabotaging? Is it to fit in? Is it to fit in with the person, with how you're feeling because you're being reactive? What is it? And then do the work for yourself. Stop sabotaging to fit in with how you feel because of a reaction, or because of how someone else is responding, or because of the environment. Know what it is you're trying to strive for, and do it because of you. You are worth doing it. And that statement in itself is not a cliche, you are worth it. It is like, hey, I'm doing it for me. I have the strength to do it for me. I'm willing to put the effort in for me. So fucking do it. There is a point in life where you just have to make the call and do the work. There is no magic pill. Doesn't matter what kind of way you want to go around it, who you want to talk to about it, what psychologist, what medication, what treatment, what training. At one point, you're going to have to wake up and say, hey, do the fucking work. So my word of advice, call your bullshit and then stop sabotaging to fit in. Do the work, and do the work for you.